We're going to take our chart file that's in the chart working folder and change it into a pie chart and explore the issues, the problems, the excitement about having a pie chart. Now, if we take the current chart, we can change its chart type by going to Chart Tools, Design, Change Chart Type, and I'm going to change it into a simple pie chart. OK. Now that appears, but what you'll find is the pie chart can only display one series at a time. So here I'm only seeing the sales for 2010. Now if I look at the data, we'll see that quite happily it picks up 2010, but isn't mapping any of the other values. So how do I get it to do the others? Well, we can't. We would have to have multiple pie charts. So we're going to take this pie chart, replicate it another 3 times to create 2011, 2012, 2013. But before we do that, I'm just going to edit this pie chart settings slightly. If we go to the elements, we can see we can have a chart title. Well, that's giving me the year, so that's fine. The data labels, and you can see that they appear as they appear. But if I go to the pop-out, we have a choice of where they appear. Inside, outside, best fit, date call out. I quite like that because that puts in, as you can see here, a percentage and the label. So I'm going to go with the data call out option, and then I'm going to turn the legend off because that's not needed. What you will then find is within here, you can actually just pull these call outs that little bit further out to make their pointer point to the correct slice. So the percentage refers to the percentage of the grand total sales. So in 2010, Mike was responsible for 33% of the sales, whereas poor Sue was only responsible for 2%. Just like the other chart types, you have plenty of styles here to choose from with your pie charts. You can have one of these basic ones, very colourful, one with a space between, different type of fill, very trendy call-outs there, they're on the inside. So there's a lot of little options in here. Or we can stay with the basic option there. Let's go back to that one and change this into what's referred to as an exploded pie. Now we do that under the chart type because it's one of the chart types. So we'll have a 3D, OK, which changes my chart into a 3D type. And then what you'll find is if you click on the pie, but then click an individual slice, I can just drag that slice out slightly and see that it stands out from the rest of the pie chart. So that was a clever little move there. Let's just do undo. When you initially select the pie, you get the whole pie, but we're only after an individual slice, so you have to click again. Then you can click to grab your slice and pull the slice away. And you have that little exploded pie. A piece of it is missing or moved away to make it stand out even more graphically. We still have the same issue though, that we only have one series being mapped here. Let's just turn the legend off. We don't need the legend. So we have a chart title and we have the labels in their callouts. The next step is to resize this chart to about there. And then I want to create 3 more. So I click on the border and copy. Control-C is good enough. Click away and then paste, paste, and paste. So that gives me my 4 pie charts that I require. But what I now need to do is to change this one to 2011, this one to 2012, and this one to 2013. Just before I do that, I'm going to change their wrapping because they're currently in line with text. So I'm going to say wrap around for that one, that one, that one, and that one. If I'd have done this before I copied and pasted, they would all have been wrapped around with text. And what that will enable me to do is to move them where I want them. So I can separate them a little bit. They're not now restricted by being sat on a line with the text. Okay, so there's my 4 pie charts. They're all exactly the same at the moment. The next stage is to move and change the data source so that it doesn't look at the first year. It effectively ignores the first year and moves to the second year for this one. Then ignore that to go to the third year for this one. Then ignore that to go to the fourth year for this one. So how do we do that? The way to tell each chart to use a different series is by hiding the data from it, really. So if we go to 2010 here, which I want to make 2011, we then go into edit the data, but we need to choose edit the data in Excel, because in Excel we can hide the columns, which we cannot do in the little pop-out screen. So edit the data in Excel, And if I tell it to ignore or hide column B, which contains 2010, the graph will now have to read 2011. So we close that, and we find that we're now looking at 2011, where Mike is 31% of the data. He's still the biggest slice, so I'm just going to pull his slice out again. If we then go to 2010, which actually should be 2012, edit the data in Excel, and we tell it to hide columns B and C. So I'll highlight columns B and C, right-click and hide. Close Excel. We see that this now changes to 2012, where Jeremy actually has the largest proportion. So one click on Jeremy, and then click again, and I can pull his slice away. And then the final one, which is going to be 2013, edit the data in Excel and hide those three columns. Right-click, hide, close the Excel, and this now responds to 2013, and Mike's back. Oh, actually he's drawing with Bob, isn't he? So let's go back and edit the data, which we can do locally now that we've hidden the columns. Bob is slightly in the lead, but percentage-wise it's coming out the same. Let's pump Bob up so he does take a larger percentage, and then close. And then we can extract Bob's pie to make it expand out. So that was taking your data into the pie chart realm, which has its drawbacks in that it can only do one series at a time, but there's nothing to stop you using multiple pie charts, one for each series. And in this case, we have 4 pie charts, one for each year. And we've gone that little bit extra by adding in the captions and just making the pie that's the largest expand out.